December, OUTshine Film Festival's Fort Lauderdale Virtual Edition, featuring queer films from all over the world. Presenting 18 feature films and 3 shorts programs, plus a drive-in movie night at Pier 66. Watch the best LGBTQ+ films from home. Tickets are on sale now. Check out the program at OUTshineFilm.com.
Hey everybody, Joe Belanchia, Director of Programming for OUTshine. Thank you for being here for the Q&A with Ladies Night, our wonderful lady shorts programs. Hopefully you've been enjoying some of the programming and will continue to enjoy more as the weekend progresses. A big thank you to our presenting sponsor, Gilead and Broward County. Thank you not only for what you do for us, but to help make South Florida a wonderful place to be. So thank you for all of your support. And again, we're here to celebrate the shorts from Ladies Night. We're very excited that we have some cast and crew with us. Some may join as the night progresses, so we may throw some more names at you. But for now, I'd love to introduce Tony Ottilie from the film Baby DYKE. There you are.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
A big thank you to you, because I know it's like 11:30 or getting close at night in Denmark. So a special thank you to you.
Thank you.
With us, we have Stacy Calvert, director of the MITZVAH, along with Jasmin Singer, one of the lead actors. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Stacy, I think you're in Los Angeles and Jasmin is in New York. So again, thank you, and look forward to speaking to you soon.
Great.
And with me on this wonderful broadcast is Jen Chris from the board of OUTshine.
Hello.
Thank
Joe,
you.
thank you for all you do as our program director. You're the most amazing guy. You find us everything. You get it done. We've got a really great program tonight. We've had some amazing shorts in tonight's group. So thank you for putting it all together.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I do need to say a big thank you to Alexis Bosch, who works the magic behind the scenes. But we're again excited to have her and her magic fingers, I always say. So let's bring back Tony to talk a little bit about the film Baby DYKE.
Hi.
Hello again. I missed you.
I'm sorry it's so dark around me. I'm in a summer house with my girlfriend.
Well, again, we're thankful of the time you're giving us. So talk a little bit about the background, sort of the genesis of the film. How did it come to be? And then a little bit about the production. Like, was it a breeze in production? It took you a week, or, talk a little about some of the, challenges of a production of any film, but a short film especially. So.
Yeah, for sure. It actually took like almost 4 years to make Baby DYKE.
It became grown-up DYKE.
What?
She became a grown-up. Did you have to? When did you do the casting? Yeah.
Well, let me start from the beginning. I was I had just premiered a short that I had made when I was like 19, and I was, I think, 20 at the time. I was 21, 20, I think, and then I wanted to submit a short film idea to this program, and then I just wanted to make a film about like the queer scene around me in Copenhagen that I was a part of. And then I was lucky and got the funding, a very short, very, very low budget, the film. And then we did the casting a lot online because I wanted it to be an all queer cast. And most of the people in the film are just my friends. But for the main character, I wanted someone younger. So I went online in these like queer Facebook groups where a lot of like young lesbians were hanging out, like teenage lesbian group. Yeah, that's Anna. And then I wrote online, and she showed up with a friend. And actually first when I wanted to cast her, she wasn't sure because she'd never thought of herself as someone being in a movie, and she mostly just showed up because her friend wanted to. And but then I called and convinced her, and she says it's been a life-changing experience. And I was so lucky to have her with me when we premiered at Berlin. She was there the whole week, and we just shot a new film together, which I just picture-locked. And Anna is now 20 and still an amazing actress. But yeah, the production of the film was very rock and roll. I would say we found a lot of the locations very shortly, and we shot at a real techno party. So it's an actual techno party. There was drunk people all around me. There's a guy who kept hitting on me when we were shooting because he didn't know we were shooting. And a lot of the people you see in the film are actually dating in real life, and it's definitely just like a dive down into the queer scene. But then the post-production was what resulted in the film taking 3.5 years to finish, because I got a really bad concussion and was sick for a long time, and that pushed the whole post schedule, because I was sick for like half a year. And then the editor didn't have time anymore, and a lot of us got into film school in the meantime after making it. So yeah, and we just took our time. Also, we weren't in a hurry. And then we got into Berlin, which was amazing. And then it's just been like a festival game with the film since then, and I'm so grateful for it. Even though it's a bit funny with the whole Corona situation, but I'm just so grateful that festivals are still happening.
Yeah. You always hear these crazy stories, and I think yours just took crazy to another level. One of the things I love that you said is that it was important to you to use an all-queer cast. Is that just because for the authenticity, or because your support of that community? Or can you talk a little bit about why you felt that strongly?
Yeah, well, I think it's many things. I think as a director, I'm really interested in working with non-actors and authenticity. And also a big part of why I wanted to make Baby DYKE was also I just thought my queer friends were so funny and charismatic, and every time I see queer people on TV, it's always, or like, I think US is better at the representation, but in Denmark it's almost always just cis straight actors trying to portray something. And I mean, even in the extras, those are queer people too. We just put out a like call to the queer scene being like, hey, we're gonna give you free beers, show up and be in the film. I think there's something that you can't do just in like costumes and writings. Like the people bring their own, like almost everyone in the film is non-actors. And that's not to say that they play themselves, because it's totally characters. They're really nice in real life.
I love the chemistry between the two sisters. They really look and act like sisters. Who did you cast first? Which one of them, and how did you choose that?
We actually had like castings, like couple castings for the sibling roles. So we had like a lot of young people we wanted as the main character, and a lot of older siblings. And like I had some like that could match, like just in the way they looked, but we also were just looking for chemistry. So, and some people we were even casting as both the older and the younger sister, and also as the girlfriend. And it was just this big mesh of queer people that we were like put in a room together, and how about you for that role? And I think when Levi and Anna, who plays the two siblings, when they met, it was just such, like, Anna just thought Levi, who plays the older sibling, was the coolest. Like, she still has the eyebrow thing that Levi has. So she's just completely copied their style, kind of. And they just got, like, a sibling bond in real life, too, and, like, hung out so much. And I think Anna was really just blown away, because she was from, like, kind of the countryside and didn't know that many older queer people. And Levi kind of took her under their wing. And it was just very, very life affirming and cute to see from the outside, and very nice for the film too. Yeah,
you know, it sounds like the queer scene is really hopping over there in Denmark. In the United States, we just did a Q&A a couple days ago about how it's all but disappeared in the United States. What is your take on what keeps it so vibrant
in Denmark? That's a good question. I think Denmark is just, I mean, it's a pretty socialist country, and it's very small. And I think we just have a culture of organizing and community activity. And I think also because I live in Copenhagen, I think the queer scene in Copenhagen is just, it's not as big in all the other places in Denmark. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I think we're just a country of a lot of community organizers, but I don't know if that's more than in the US. I thought the queer scene in US was like very alive.
Yeah, I think part of it is it's age groups too. I don't mean to sound ageist or anything, but it tends to be the younger sort of queer culture does exist.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
People, my age and other ages, it's very different. And we always appreciate. We always say, like, we live life through our youth, and I can see your enthusiasm for the film and the characters and the queer culture, and I totally appreciate that. It's sort of coming through on the. What are you working on now? What's like your next project?
Yeah, I just picture locked the film that the international title is Intrusions, and it's a story about a young girl who struggles with OCD, and it's also for me a very personal story, and how she falls in love and like the struggles of navigating a relationship when you have a mental illness. It's also a queer story. I would say yeah.
What are your biggest challenges? Not, when making shorts these days, what was your biggest challenge making Baby DYKE as well as the new one? I'm reading a question from the audience, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. My biggest challenge, well, practically it was the concussion, but that's a boring answer. I would say that it was, it's really hard to portray the people that you're a part of. It's really hard to portray where you come from. And I've really grown up in the queer scene. I started hanging out at like queer bars in Copenhagen when I was like 15. And I wanted to portray that with honesty and love, but also some things that make me angry. Like, I don't want to make a film with just like queer people as these perfect martyrs. I think that's another form of well-meaning dehumanization. So I wanted to show it with love, but I was also very self-conscious that it's a group that's targeted with a lot of misunderstanding, and I didn't want to contribute to that. But I also wanted to speak from my perspective, and I make films about bullying and hard things. So I think it was like my own. I think at the time I didn't think so much, but now I see that actually took some nerve to do that. Yeah,
I would agree. And for those viewers, you said you had some challenges, but any filmmaker has a lot of challenges. So thank you for persevering. I know financing can be difficult. Thank you for persevering. Thank you for making such a beautiful film, allowing us to screen it. Is there another question?
Yeah.
Was there a particular event or time that you recognized that filmmaking was not just a hobby, but that it would be your life and your living?
That's a good question. I think I actually knew from when I was pretty young that I wanted to work with films. I do remember walking home from the cinema when I was a kid, like 12 or something, with my friend, and saying to her, like, I want to make films or something. And then when I was like 15, I got into this like film program after school, just like a hobby thing. And I just became so obsessed with it, and I was there like almost every day. And from then on, I think I kind of knew from there that it was what I wanted to do the most.
Well, we're glad
but it's a hard question.
It is. You answered it well. Thank you again for not only taking the time, but for taking the time at what's got now moving close to 11:30 midnight. So thank you very much for allowing us to screen the film. Good luck. Keep making films, and hopefully someday we'll be able to have you in person.
Thank you so much.
So nice to meet you. Congratulations on your film.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And again, if you our viewing audience has any questions, make sure you type them away, and we'll try and get to them. So again, thank you to Tone and Baby DYKE. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate the allowing us to screen the film. And now we'll move on to the MITZVAH director Stacy Calvert and actor Jasmin Singer. Come back on.
Hi.
I think Jill was. Are you unmuted? All right. Well, thank you all for being here.
I'm still reeling from your comment earlier, Joe, about like how there really still is a queer scene, but we're just not invited to it. Is that what?
Well, even if I'm invited, I think I'm either asleep or it was in too small print. I couldn't read the invite. So, but again, I really do appreciate the queer culture of today, because I think it is very different. It's evolving. It's just different than when we were who we were and when we were that age. So I love seeing I think it's people of all ages who make the community, and it's fun to sort of look and see what they're what they're doing. So anyway, Stacy, Jasmin, thank you again for allowing us to screen the Bar Mitzvah. What a fun film. Can you talk a little bit about the genesis, like where did the story begin? I know the start of the film says it's based on a story, but let's get that in.
So I grew up outside Chicago. My dad grew up in a suburb called Skokie, which is a super, super, super Jewish community. It was actually, I didn't know this till a few years ago. It was actually a suburb that was created for Holocaust survivors. So they were basically like, it was an intentional community to bring Jews out to the burbs from the city. So my dad grew up there, and my grandmother was the queen of the area. She was society lady, did a lot of stuff. One of the things was when I was really young, I developed a little early and had to get a bra. So I was so mortified. I mean, I was so young. Like I was 9 years old. I was so young, so young. And they took me to this store. It's called Schwartz's. It's no longer there anymore. But I just have had this in my head, for years. And I've done a couple career changes. And I came back out to LA about 5 years ago after finishing my MFA in Southern Illinois. And this has been a story that's rattled in my head for years. So finally, a couple years ago, I was able to kind of sit down and really get it going. And then we made the film, and it was such a process and so amazing, and such a collaboration between all of our cast and crew. Literally collaboration to the very end, with the last line when Jasmin pulled me aside. Hey, why don't we do this? Okay, let's. Wow. So pretty amazing. Yeah.
Now, are you guys friends in real life?
Well, now we are.
Now we are. Yeah. So Jasmin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jasmin's wife, Moore, I've known for 15, 20 years, something like that. And yeah, Moore told Jasmin about my movie, and Jasmin wrote me this lovely email. So I'll let you.
Well, Stacy had created a really welcoming, creative space for our shoots. And so when she says it was collaborative, that was by design. That was because she's a very generous director. And so we all had about as much fun as you can tell from this photo.
Well, that's the fabulous Bridget McManus, who has stand-up comic, hilarious girl. Tell us about how you put the casting together.
Oh my goodness. So I've known Bridget for a while. And when I moved back out to LA, I think I told her about this probably about 4 or 5 years ago. It was, I was working with a couple friends, Anna Albello, who's actually from Florida, and Darren Day. We're doing this thing at the LGBT Center called Lesbian Culture Club. And I was at a bar with Bridget and her wife, Carmen, a bunch of people. And I was telling her, and she's like, well, you should make the film. I'm like, I know I should make the film. And then finally, yeah. And Bridget was the first person I contacted. I was like, I need you in this. And she was all for it. And then our bubbies, Craig and Beth, I call her like right hand between Kelly Weinhardt, who was producer, and Jacqueline Cheston, who was producer, DP, and editor. This film would not have been made. So they were, I don't know, we just got everyone on board. It was really wonderful. But yeah, Bridget's hilarious. We have so many outtakes. I mean, it was so hard editing this. It was so hard. And I have one outtake that I think Jasmin will kill me if I ever share it. But one of the funniest things during the filming is that, so the wine scene where they're drinking the wine. Manischewitz, yes. I bought a giant thing of grape juice to replace it, and I forgot.
But I was told it was juice. So there were takes, and people are like, "Well, why didn't you know that was juice?" Because Manischewitz doesn't really taste like wine,
right? Exactly.
It tasted like just really potent grape juice. And like maybe an hour into shooting the same scene over and over, I hear someone someone on the crew, like over on the side, say, "We better wrap this soon. Jasmine's going to be wasted." It was real.
You know, right at the very beginning of the short, it looks like you guys are laughing. And it's, you know, it's as if you guys are like, no, seriously, we got to do this take.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the very beginning, you guys clearly cannot hold in your laughter. And it sets an interesting tone where you just know, what are we about to see?
Oh my God, it was so true. I mean, there were times when I had to hold my mouth because I have ADHD, so impulsive words, boom. And I'm like, oh, shut up. Because we were, the whole crew, like we were all laughing the entire day. 2 days that we 3 days that we shot. I mean, we were just cracking up the entire time. Definitely.
As it should be. And it's funny you mentioned that somebody said, oh, make the film. Like, non-filmmakers just think
I mean, I'm a programmer too and filmmaker, and anyone can make a film. It just costs money to do it. I don't say do it well. I mean, you could shoot with your iPhone. I've shot a 1-minute experimental piece with my iPhone that got into festivals. Like, you can do it. People forget about sound, and that's the biggest thing. But it was pretty amazing. We crowdfunded, and I had an angel investor who came in at the end, who was a friend from childhood, who was very lovely, and pushed us over the edge so we could get greenlit through Seed and Spark, which is an awesome platform to crowdfund with. I still have credit cards that are not paid off. My wife's like, hey, what about this? I'm like, yeah, that was from the film. So we went a little over budget, not knowing how much things cost. Half our cast and crew were vegan. So that was a challenge for me. Like, okay, wait, what are we going to get everyone to eat? So, little things like that add up. But
they do. Given some of these stories, is filmmaking, continue? Yes, you're all in.
I came back out. I went back to school to study. I moved out here in LA 25 years ago, and then I did a round robin. And when I first moved out here, I was doing tech, and I did that for about 10, 12 years. And I was like, okay, I'm not being creative. What the hell am I doing? So I literally, at some point, I was like, I'm going to grad school. And I went to grad school, finished that, and came out here. And this is what I've wanted to do. I work in TV by day. I say I work in TV by day, reality TV by day, and dream of crazy worlds at night.
And Jasmin, you're an author, a vegan author. So
I had a memoir come out a few years ago called Always Too Much and Never Enough, which which is not the same book as the recent book by Mary Trump called Too Much and Not Enough. Mine was
imagine making that mistake in the bookstore and be like, I really can't wait to read this. And like, no more cheese.
Exactly. There's a lot of people suddenly going vegan and they don't know why. But I do have another book coming out next week, which is called The Veg News Guide to Being a Fabulous Vegan. You could see the giant sign behind me. We're getting ready for promo. So I also love to act whenever I can, whenever I'm in between writing or what have you. And Stacy did a great job with the vegans, including myself. She made my character vegan because I kept improvising vegan lines, and eventually she had to leave them in. If you notice that bread at the very beginning, that like iconic Jewish food spread was all vegan from like a Jewish vegan deli in LA, Morton Betty's. And amazing. Yeah, it was really fun.
Only in LA are there vegan Jewish delis.
There's one in Chicago. There's one in New York.
That's your next book.
Yeah.
A tour through the vegan Jewish delis.
Your mouth.
That is an interesting question. And I don't know if you can answer this sort of being COVID, but your film has clear identities in queer culture and in Jewish culture. Mm-hmm. Do you sort of notice any difference in sort of where the laughs are and sort of, the things people focus in the various communities?
Well, what's funny is that, so COVID's been hard, right? This is my first narrative, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to go, especially, we played reeling, and that's where I grew up. So that would have been, wonderful. And they were wonderful. So that's been kind of a bummer this year of not being able to travel to all the places where I have friends and family and see that. So in terms of, seeing what people react to, I think it's been a little bit of everything. Like I had one woman, and this is just when I had the trailer out. I literally had one woman who just looked at the trailer and asked me, "Do you know Schwartz's in north suburbs of Chicago?" I'm like, "What?" She got it right away. Like she knew exactly where I was talking about. I mean, it was hilarious. So yeah, I definitely see queer. It's a little bit of both. Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of both. I mean, definitely. What's funny to me is I thought this was a shoo-in for all these Jewish film festivals. We've been rejected like 10 times from Jewish film festivals, and we're the first Jewish film festival we got into, which I thought was great, Hong Kong. So go figure.
Do you think it's that? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you think it's the fact that they're scared of queer stories?
Maybe. I mean, possibly. I mean, it's a very campy movie.
No, really?
No, I don't know. No, it's a very campy movie, and yeah, I mean, maybe some of that. I think a lot of as you know, a lot of festivals, program dramatic stuff. It's really hard to break a comedy into a film festival, and I think that's part of it too. Especially the year that we're having right now. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what people are programming in terms of Jewish film festivals, but we also just got into Greater Phoenix Jewish Film Festival, and they're lovely. So we're going to be playing there next year. So it's getting there. So I think, and what's funny is I think the Jews are hearing about us now, and so now they're coming to ask. If we can
well, I'm going to put you on hold just a second and ask the voice on camera asking the person off camera. Alexis, has anyone else joined us? Cameron or Theola?
No, nobody else.
All right, then we'll keep going.
Hi, Alexis.
I can talk forever.
Hi, Alexis.
Yeah. You didn't see Alexis. She's delightful. That's the voice from that you might have heard. So
I have a question about this. It ends where you find out that Becca, as a character, is actually non-binary, which you would never think throughout the entire experience, even though she hints a little bit maybe about not liking dresses, but that's pretty much it. So I just thought it was interesting because it's actually a very binary term, bat mitzvah versus bar mitzvah, and then you went with bra mitzvah. Is that the non-binary term for mitzvah?
Not at all. No. A lot of it, Becca was always going to be at some point gender non-conforming and non-binary. I didn't have the verbiage, so when I initially wrote the script, I don't even remember what it is now, but wrote the script, it didn't say that exactly. It was just the grandmother, like, what are you doing? What are you wearing? That kind of thing. And then literally like 2 minutes before we're shooting, Jasmin pulls me aside. She's like, "Hey, why don't we do this?" I'm like, "Oh, yes, that's the word. That's the word." And that's what I want, was trying to convey. And this is what I mean about the whole weekend was just super collaborative. Like we just ran with it. Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned earlier, because Jen and I have these conversations a lot about film and comedy. And I think people think comedy is just a barrel of laughs, but it's really sort of difficult to do. And it's your first narrative, but did you find there are difficulties in sort of in this comedic vein? It's not easy to do.
I know. So I'm a writer too, not published in different ways, unlike Jasmin. But I come from documentary film, so yeah, this is a whole different ball game for me. And yeah, it's one of those things that's really hard. My wife has been amazing. Like I would be like, "Okay, Mel, can you read this? Can you read this?" Because what would happen is it's all in my head, and it's like getting it out on the page is so difficult at times that I would just rush through the jokes, and Mel would be like, "Hey, where's the other part?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, right." Had to go back and rewrite it again. So it's comedy is super hard. I mean, it's easy. I would say it's easy to write drama, but I don't know. It's easier, I guess, to me. But yeah, comedy is super hard, but it's fun. And I grew up, like dark comedies are my bag. I love dark comedies. Like that is my world. And most of the stuff I've written about is about my family, and a lot of it's dark and comedic. So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, no, it's not easy. It's not easy.
How much of the script did you end up like strictly going to, or was so much of it improvised? Because it really feels very flowy and.
Yep. So the breakfast scene, I think we may have changed a couple lines on set, but breakfast scene was pretty standard. We had another scene that we had to cut. What I did in the script when I met Craig and Beth, Jacqueline introduced me to them. We went to lunch in West Hollywood, and I was like, yes, you guys are amazing. And they created these characters. So these characters actually exist as other characters. So Ruth and Gertie, I can't remember the name of them right now, but Ruth and Gertie do exist in other forms. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. And the both of them come from the improv background. So when I was talking with Jacqueline and Kelly, I was like, I'm just going to let them go. Like, just, give them a few, pushes. Like, this is what we kind of want. And they just went and they went, and Bridget went, and the three of them together. Oh my God. I mean, like we said earlier, a lot of laughter on the set. But yeah, they just went with it. And that was the beauty of it, I think, is that we were able to get that. When we were editing, it was a little hard because we're like, oh God, wait, does that match up? But there's a lot of outtakes, a lot of fantastic outtakes.
Great. And I know we have another question, Patricia. What was the most important lesson you had to learn that has had a positive effect on your short, and how did that lesson happen? Thank you.
So, thank you. My wife will say this all the time. You are not an island. You are not an island. And that was probably the biggest thing. Because I come from documentary in that world, it's a lot of run and gun. You have your camera, you go do your thing. You're like a one-woman band. You're just doing it. And so I had to seriously like let stuff go. And it's like, oh, okay, right. Other people can do this. Right. I don't have to do this. Right. And that was a process, and it was a big process. And I think that's the biggest thing, is trust the people around you. Find good people. Find, if you're lucky, and I'm extremely lucky. Oh my goodness. I can't, so lucky to have all these wonderful people in my life. You need to trust the people around you, because they're going to steer you the right way if they're the right people.
Surround yourself with good people. I think and not only in this effort, but in life in general. Jasmin, I have a question I'm not quite sure how to phrase, but I'll phrase it and then you can sort of interpret as you might. You act and you write. Do you find that helps you do either one or both? And so how do they play in your mind?
Oh, 100 billion%. That's true. You can have 100 billion%, right? I don't do math, but acting and writing, I think most people who do both would agree, it is very much the same muscle. For me, it ever since I was a kid, when I went to like an arts high school one year for acting and the next year for writing, so it is very much like, if I'm doing one, I don't actually feel that pressing need to do the other one. If I'm doing the other, I don't feel the pressing need to do the other one. It's all about being able to get into another story and find the truths in it and how it overlaps with my personal truths. I had a lot of fun with playing Jen, because she is very much like me, but more wound up. So for the first time ever, I was able to actually be more uptight than I normally am. And so it was a very creative, fun environment. I love to have a tangible thing after I create. I think there's a lot of artists who are very much into like the flow of like, now it's here, now it's gone or something. No, not me. I want to have a collection of books on the shelf, and I want to have a collection of films that I've been able to play in. So that was extraordinary. Yeah.
I guess my last question, Jen, do you have any?
I just want to say I'm so happy to have a comedy among these shorts, especially now. You mentioned it's tough getting into festivals. I think now is when we need you in festivals to lighten it up.
Yeah, as a programmer, I get that question. It's like, why are there no comedies? I'm like, well, is that a question to me, or is that a question to the world? Because why are there? Because it's hard to do. So
that's great, and that makes me want to make more.
Please do. Speaking of, that is sort of my final question. We're winding down in time here. Is sort of, what are you working on? And Jasmin, we know what is coming up now. But, what's coming up after now? Yeah. You can talk. You can plug the book. We don't worry at all. Let's start with you, Stacy. What's your?
Yeah, so I'm really crazy busy. I'm literally working like two jobs, one job, two jobs. Like I said, I work in TV during the day, and I just got I don't say promoted or asked. I'm the executive director of Klexicon now, one of the two executive directors. And so I've been very busy. And Klexicon, I say it's like Comic-Con, but for queers. So it's amazing. So I've been really, really busy with that. So my creative stuff is going to fall into the side, but Jacqueline and I and Kelly have been talking about stuff, like little things we can do, because of COVID, it's really hard to even get there. I mean, there are productions going on, but these are people that have a lot of money and test people every day. So we're like, okay, what can we do? 3 of us, or like, that kind of thing. What I will say, and I said this, I don't know, a little while ago, our first table read, I joked how I wanted to have this as a musical, and everyone was like, and so I'm outlining a feature.
That's my next project. I'm answering the question earlier.
Yeah. Stacy, you're done. Jasmin?
To be in the Bar Mitzvah, the musical.
So yeah.
Yeah, already.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's hopefully happening. I will say I'll probably be looking for investors. I don't think I could do another crowdfunding campaign. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's tiring.
Good luck. I mean,
yeah, I know, right? But yeah.
And Jasmin, again, your book comes out.
It comes out on December 15th. I too have many projects. I'm currently shopping around another book, and I also run a media nonprofit focused around animal rights. And we have a podcast that I've been hosting every week for the last 11 years without ever missing a week, called Our Hen House. And I'm the vice president of content for a vegan beauty box called Kinder Beauty. And I'm doing, I don't remember what else I'm doing. I'm doing Stacy's new musical.
Where can they find Our Hen House? Is it just Google, but okay.
You can listen to the Our Hen House podcast. There's almost 600 episodes. Every now and then we do like a radio play. So we get to act, through that means, which is super fun. And, other than that, yeah, I am just keeping busy trying to figure out what I can create in the time of COVID and what comes after the time of COVID in terms of what we can make and play and have fun with, always with a social justice bent. I would never do something that didn't have a social justice bent.
Wow. I love when you have like good filmmakers, good actors who are also good people. And that's evident in sort of what you said and what you've created and what you've told us. You could be fooling us, but I don't think so.
I don't have any game. No game here. No game.
Jen, I'm impressed.
Well, I am too. Yeah. I am too, Joe. And Joe's a pretty amazing guy too. So we have to give it up for the one guy who can manage to be on the Lesbian Shorts program and hold his own.
I'm an honorary lesbian for the day. Yay!
Love it. Love it. We accept you.
I will own it. Again, thank you to Tone for Baby DYKE. Thank you to all the filmmakers, Jen, Jasmin, Stacy. Thank you so much. Again, a big thank you to our presenting sponsors, Broward County and Gilead. With them, we appreciate all they do. So thank you. And my only last comment is you have to keep making films and queer films so that we can have you in person someday. Love it.
Definitely. Oh, it's such a deal.
All right. And seriously, thank you for taking time. I know. I think the misinformation is that nobody has anything to do during COVID and they're just sitting around waiting to say, hey, can you do a Q&A? When it actually takes time and energy, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you so much. We're so
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you.
And keep watching the films. They're available till Sunday. Everything's great, and we appreciate your joining us for the Q&A for the Lady Shorts.
Good night, all.
Hi, girls. You made it. Oh, everything's going
Mom,
perfectly. Just wait just a minute.
Doesn't need to be in the training pro department, that's for sure.